just going to reply to my friend Chris just now because he's texted me about us meeting up.
Okay.
He just said sick, and that's all he said. So, okay. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the info. Really appreciate it. I know he probably won't listen to this anyway.
Right.
Featured on the podcast. My mum asked me to mention her on the podcast because she was listening to it. And she was like, there was a perfect opportunity to mention me, and you didn't. And I was like, oh, soz. I'll mention you another time. So, Mum, this is your shout out. She did also say, don't ask me to listen to this and then talk about sex. Because I started talking about kinks in the first one. So,
yeah,
we're now a family-friendly podcast.
My gran got a mention in the first one because Gordon was saying how I'm trying to cut back on my swearing.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I really swear at all, but it slipped out of my gran in front of my gran, and she didn't actually care at all.
Oh.
But it was more of a me thing, like, kind of letting that slip out now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't swear in front of my grandparents either. It's just like it's not okay. I swear all the time, but not in front of them. So did you make your gran listen to the podcast?
She'll definitely listen to this one, I imagine. Maybe, potentially. I said definitely, like I'm sure, but she might. So.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So shout out to Johnny's gran. And on that note, welcome to the Pilot Podcast.
Oh, the transition.
Episode 3 of the Pilot Podcast. Today, me, Aidan Cooper. Gordon is not here. It's actually a bit of a lie. He's in the next room, but he has like a Spanish assignment or something, so he can't be here for the whole thing.
Some Spanish assignment?
Yeah. Fucking, what do you need to know? Like, you've got a Spanish girlfriend. You're basically like Spanish God. You're like Bad Bunny. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry, guys. Today, I'm joined by Jonny, not O'Kane. He's not Japanese. Jonny O'Kane. He's Irish instead, just like Joe Biden. Gordon might join us. I think he's actually maybe going to walk in a minute. But it's just a two-man little thing today. It's just going to be a nice, intimate podcast. We are sitting across the table from each other, so there's not going to be any too dodgy stuff going on. You know?
Just eye contact. Yeah,
just some dodgy eye contact. I might like wink at Jonny. Thankfully, I said last week that there would be video. It's actually two weeks ago. I keep saying last week. The last podcast. I said that there would be video, but it doesn't look very good. And now, I guess it's time to announce, in case you didn't know already, we're on Spotify.
Yep.
So most people probably don't want video anyway. So I can do whatever I want. We can play footsie. I can wink at Jonny. We might get naked. Well, I'm making
getting ahead of yourself there.
Making our guests uncomfortable. I'm gonna pipe that in now. So yeah, welcome to episode 3. We're gonna have hopefully a nice, not as crazy, long, drawn out chat where we go on too many tangents because it is just the two of us. Mm-hmm. And I have somewhere to be after. Do you have somewhere to be after?
I have a dinner to get to potentially. Whoa. Well, no, just the usual family dinner.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think they're gonna wait on me. I told them not to wait on me.
Oh.
So which is good. I don't want them to wait.
Who's at your family dinner?
It's just my family eating dinner.
Oh, just like your mum, dad, your sister.
I mean, it's 6 now, so I won't make it, but that's okay. That's fine.
That's okay. You're okay with that?
They know ahead of time that I'm not gonna make it, so it's all good.
Okay. Well, what are you missing out on?
I don't know, so I might not actually be missing out on much.
Okay. Well, yeah. Hopefully, like your mum had the slow cooker on and she's making like lamb casserole, so you're not really missing out. And I mean that probably would be like it's quite fattening, lamb casserole. And you're all about fitness, aren't you, Jonny? Because you just made a film about a guy running, and that's fitness. Transition.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did in fact make a film called Losing Track. Obviously, I was quite interested in fitness, so when I first joined the club and it came to making a film, I was like, right, what do I wanna tackle here? What do I know? Like, how would I know how to film? And I was like, fitness maybe. And then the idea, I don't know if I'm getting way too ahead of myself here, by the way.
Go, you're all good.
we'll get to it as we do, but then I thought of a POV running shot. Because I was thinking, there's a cool way to shoot something. Peep show, fitness, running shot, POV running shot. And then I got ideas for the story spawned off of a POV running shot, basically.
That's fair. I really like that, actually, because I think both the films I've made came entirely from the idea of one shot.
Yeah.
And then that's where it spiraled. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one that has ideas like that, and it just kind of spawns it. Because we spoke about it with Jacob on the last episode. I actually asked him about that running shot specifically, and he was saying like it had to get strapped to his chest and all that stuff.
Yeah, because initially it was fine. Then I put it on, and it ripped, like it broke a bit of the plastic off. And then I found a screw in the box, and I just put that in, and it worked. Gordon was making a joke, a very flattering joke, I will add, that my chest was too big for it.
Oh.
So I'll take that. I will take that.
You've been grinding in the gym.
I do try my best.
Is it Strath Gym?
I do use Strath Gym. Yep, got an annual membership till September, so that's quite good.
Yeah, the gym is actually really good and very cheap.
Yeah, I rate it. I do rate it.
It's good. Anyone who knows me knows that I clearly do not go to the gym, and I used to go to that gym, and I went for a while until I was doing bench press, and I was not lifting very much weight, and some girls next to me were maybe laughing at me or maybe not, and it scared me for life, and then I never went back.
You should have got on video and got Joey Swall on them.
I should have.
Yeah.
I see all those videos and I'm like, I should just go. I need to get over the fear of the judgment. That
can't be more embarrassing than me in that gym when I was benching, and it wasn't even like it wasn't even like overly heavy from where I was at that point. Like it was probably light in comparison to what others were doing, but it wasn't like crazy. And my hand just slipped, and then the bar just fell on me.
Oh.
But bright side, someone came and brought it off my chest, and they would. And now whenever I see him, I say hi. So I made a pal out of it.
That's nice. That's good. So you didn't do I know that you're supposed to like not put the clips on if you're doing it by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like on the end of the weights, like, so you can tip it.
But I did that one time, like just no clips, and then one of the staff was like, "Do you mind putting clips on?"
Oh right.
So I was obviously like, "Yeah, okay." So it's just not an option. Well, no. You can do it, but
that's fair enough. Well, at least someone came in and saved you, and
absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess now you're not embarrassed anymore. You can do anything in the gym.
Yeah.
And it'll be good. And speaking of confidence, circle back. How did you get into the filmmaking writing process? Because you just joined us this year.
Yeah.
And obviously it's your first year of uni, so coming to uni is a bit daunting anyway. And then joining a new club where most of the people already know each other, and coming in and trying to make your voice heard. Obviously we do our best to be inclusive and give everyone a fair share, but it can be quite scary to be like, I have this idea and I want to do it. So do you want to talk about you obviously kind of talked about the shot giving you the idea, but what was the exact process from kind of inception to starting filming for Losing Track?
Like just from StrathTV point of view?
Well, did the idea predate the StrathTV?
No.
So yeah, I guess just from a StrathTV point of view.
Because I came to the uni. Obviously, it was Freshers' Week. I was right. Your stall was right outside this room, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Right, so I'm coming in, right, and I'm like, where am I meant to go? And I get these codes for where I'm meant to go for my introductory lecture, right? And I'm like, what the hell is this? GH311. What am I looking at here, right?
Yep.
And I'm looking about, and obviously beforehand I was always interested in film and filmmaking and all that. So then when I come around this corner and I'm like, I'm gonna go to a stall and talk to someone for the sake of it, but also to get this code. And I turn around and I see the Film and TV Society. I'm like, I'll ask them. And I went up and I talked to you. It was mainly Ewan who kind of did the intro thing, but you were there. You were there.
Because I remember the first time that I met you, like properly, I was like, I remember you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it was from the stall. Because obviously I met quite a lot of people at the stall. But yeah, I remember that. And yeah, Ewan is a lot better at talking to everyone than I am. So yeah, but that's weird to think about that you're just like some random like person that came up to our stall per chance, and now we're sitting in here like after you've made a film.
It is quite mad.
Yeah.
Ewan did really sell me on the club, and then I was like, also, does anyone know what this room is? And then Jamie was like, yeah, that's Graham Hill's level, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was good. And then later on, I never did it much with meeting you because I thought, we're going to come in, as you say, come into this club with all these people and try and get my voice heard. I was a bit daunted by that idea. Like, was I going to come and be like, yeah, I would like to write something. Like, I thought this club was going to be, not to make it sound like this club isn't prestigious, but I thought it was going to be much bigger than what it was.
Yeah.
I prefer it this way. I know this sounds like I'm dissing the club, but genuinely it's been one of the best parts of my first year at uni. And so I thought if I came in and was like, oh, I'm going to write something, they're going to be like, no, you need to build up to that. But yous are so good with being inclusive and letting their voices be heard of the new people.
Yeah.
So then I pure put it off, but then 4 weeks into uni, I texted the Instagram being like, are you still accepting new members? And then I think it was Gordon who wrote back to me. It might have been you. You were like, yeah, of course, we have a meeting in the fish tank. And I was like, amazing. And I came along and I met you.
Yeah, you probably came at the right time because the first kind of week I wasn't there, but Gordon was like, there's 15 people who have turned up and I'm speaking to them. And how many of them are here now? 0. But yeah, it can be kind of like daunting with that, so you probably coming a bit later was probably kind of a good thing because we are not a big society by any means. I feel like a lot of other unis film societies seem massive and it's like so difficult to get your stuff done, but I think us being quite small is an advantage. It also obviously has its downsides, but in many ways it's good because everyone kind of gets a chance, and we don't need to be like only people who have been a member for a year can pitch ideas or whatever. It's like, please give us ideas, we need them.
So then I came to the club and you were like, I was like, I'm interested in writing and directing, but because I didn't want to be like, oh, I want to do this and that, I was like, but the filmmaking process in general, to kind of not get shot down.
Yeah, to be like, I'll do anything.
Yeah,
kind of
obviously thing. That was not a problem. But Gordon was like, cool, try and write something for relatively soon, and then alright, so I was thinking, as I said earlier, I was spawned off fitness, POV running shot is then what I got, and I was like, right, how do I spiral off this? And then, even then, I was a bit apprehensive, like, I'm the new first year student, am I going to be able to film something like that?
Yeah.
But thankfully, what gave me a bit of confidence was there were other first year students who made a film. Jacob was in it, Megan was in it.
We talked about that last week. A Walk in the Park. We don't name the directors because they haven't come back and we don't want to be like mean, but obviously you enjoyed the experience of that and that obviously gave you confidence, so I mean good job to them for that.
I wasn't going to name their names or anything, but just saying how it made me realise, first year students, we can do it, I can do it. So then that's when I really knuckled in the script, and I kind of it went through like 3-4 drafts. The first draft was quite rushed. Not rushed, but quite. It's a first draft, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like there wasn't like you kind of knew what you wanted to achieve with it, but it was probably a bit like messy because I feel like first drafts always are.
And I was like my own kind of one of my favourite films is Whiplash.
Yeah.
Maybe now saying that and now looking at Losing Track, you might be able to see connections there.
Yeah.
But just the idea that I've not super personally been through myself, but I've kind of sometimes feel like I need to strive to be the best, perfect and all that.
Yeah.
In some regards, so kind of basing that around it, and then also using maybe the new at the time was quite not really at the time, but relatively relevant. You could say Andrew Tate angle.
Yeah.
Where there's this guy who came in and he's striving for these young men to achieve the best that they can be and all that, which is the side that I'm like, that's good, but then kind of toxic masculinity that comes into it, pushing people away and all that, like that's kind of, I was like, right, that's what could be the spin.
Yeah.
Then I wrote an Andrew Tate caricature and I was like, Finlay will play this.
Yeah.
Because I'd already worked on The Steps We Take.
Yep.
that was my first time with the club. That was also what boosted my confidence. I was like, this is how a production kind of run. It did also kind of not put me off, but before seeing the walk in the park, I was a bit like, this is what it's going to take to run a film, run a short film set. But as I get to, that wasn't an issue. The step we take had everyone, and it was quite. I imagine for Gordon, it was quite full on.
Yeah, well, like I was only there 2 of the 3 days. Oh, there's like technically a 4th day, but I didn't really use it. And I was like assistant director.
Yeah.
And I had to take on all of the crew, and then Gordon was just left in charge of the actors because there were so many people.
Yeah.
And he, like, I'm sure he could have managed, but it would have been pushing him a bit to organise everyone. So we did that so that it would be more organised, and that's still to date like our biggest production in terms of the number of people. So yeah, other stuff like A Walk in the Park or like Green, Sad Girl Hours, Tea, like they're all a lot smaller in terms of people. So that probably helped kind of build your confidence.
And then should I go into a bit of the writing process?
Yeah, because I don't really know much about, because this kind of just came out of nowhere for me, because I think I missed, like Gordon said that you mentioned it early on-ish about your idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was here. And then then suddenly it was just like, oh, you've got this script.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this just kind of came out of nowhere to me. But obviously you've been working on it for a while. So yeah, how did it go after the initial kind of first draft?
Yeah, so then I had this, basically, it was Mark was always in it, Mark was always as he was, but then the secondary character wasn't Darren, it was April, who was meant to be this girl, kind of had to a potential, not a romance, but like there might have been something there.
Yeah.
But she's there to help him out. And then I was doing that, and then I realised, looking at the other StrathTV projects at the time that I'd been there or worked on, it was the steps we take, male, female, kind of dynamic.
Yep.
Walk in the park, male, female. For example, this is later on, but then like Tea, male, female. Yep. I realised there was quite a lot of male, female movies, short films, what you're doing, which is obviously completely fine.
Yeah. We're guilty of that.
Yeah. But I was like, all right, I'll do a wee bit different. And in the original script, there was a character called Darren, who would text Mark.
Right.
And it was this scene that I was thinking of doing Livy Towers on the stairs in between Mark's classes.
Mm-hmm.
I cut it because we're not going to go to Livy Tower for 2 second thing.
Yeah.
That's also something I learned trying to write something for a short film. Like realising, right, we're not going to go to all these different locations for a tiny thing.
It takes a long time, like something that like we shot not long ago, like me and Gordon have been working on, is really short and should be really simple, but there's loads of locations. So it took like 2 whole days to shoot, and it's like gonna not look like that to people. It's gonna seem like it didn't take very long, but when you have to move about, it takes so long. So if you can shoot in as few locations with as few characters as possible, it makes it so much easier. And I think that's why Losing Track turned out as well as it did.
Yeah, I had to be I realised I had to be strategic in what I was writing.
Yeah.
So then I swapped April for Darren.
Yeah.
I was actually quite easy in Google Docs, just highlighting April, and then I just swapped it all for Darren.
Yeah, I think that's what Gordon wants me to do for the feature film, to get rid of the name Reese.
All right.
But I don't know if we'll actually do that. But yeah, like, it's good to know that you can do that.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't
if it came
too difficult. And that's kind of cool as well that you obviously hadn't written it like too much. Like there was the hint of the romance thing, but it was like seemingly easy enough for you to change it to a guy. Like, so it wasn't like too on the nose, and even if Darren had stayed as April, I'm sure it would have still turned out like similarly. But I think I kind of really like the male dynamic, and especially like the topics that you kind of tackled in Losing Track. I really liked, because I didn't really know much about it before, and then just kind of like it's obviously quite topical, like the Andrew Tate stuff.
Yeah.
And then toxic masculinity, men's mental health, all that stuff. I really liked that you tackled. So like, did that come in kind of early in the process, or was that stuff you added later?
It was always an underlying theme I wanted to tackle.
Right.
And then I realised, along with the idea that we do a lot of male female led films, if I changed to a guy, I could kind of show it from a perspective of don't be afraid to reach out to your pal.
Yeah.
You know, like if you see them struggling, like speaking out about mental health. Honestly, I know that's quite a big thing nowadays. Like guys reaching out to guys and all that.
Yeah.
But I just thought, well, I thought it would be a bit better.
Yeah.
Frank, not better, but
yeah, just
more interesting.
Yeah, give it a more like unique kind of twist. Because yeah, I'd like totally understand. Because I think if Darren was remained as April, something might have been lost. Like in the because women are naturally more kind of caring and willing to tackle topics like that. So having it be Darren, who's obviously someone who is a guy and he doesn't like. I'm sure obviously he suffers with masculinity and stuff, but clearly doesn't suffer with the kind of toxic masculinity and being unable to talk about his feelings like Mark was struggling with.
Yeah.
So I think that was quite a good like perspective.
And I think it overall, I know it was. I'm trying to think of anything else, and that was like the major change in the writing.
Yeah.
Like cutting locations and all that. But then the only thing is, it kind of potentially shot me in the foot a wee bit with the two guys. Yeah. Because we've learned that trying to get not one but two guys in a good age range for short films with very low budget was quite difficult.
Yes. Oh yeah. I actually completely forgot about that. But yeah, you had some issues getting actors, right? I think we might have talked about it on the last one, but
yeah,
you had someone drop out on the first day of shooting, was it?
Yeah, we'd got them like the day before.
Right.
Right, and then they were like, "You able to come?" And they just kind of basically ghosted us.
Oh, not ideal.
No. So then we showed up to shooting, one person down, which was fine for what we were going to shoot that day because it was only for that one bit. And in hindsight, maybe the actor just didn't want to come all the way into Glasgow to do that one bit, which I do get.
Yeah.
Not maybe the not responding at all fit. But
yeah, that's never great. But you can understand the perspective that we're not paying people and all that. But yeah.
Well, not yet, hopefully.
Oh yeah, soon. Well, I say fingers crossed. Soon we will be paying people.
We got a wee bit of a budget, hopefully.
Yeah, for the big feature, which we'll talk about near the end of the podcast.
Yep. And we got Jacob at Reg. He was at the original. He was able to do it. Gordon was like, he's good. He did Green and
Walk in the Park. Obviously didn't come out, but
and I was like, yep, he's perfect. He can be Mark. So and then we put another casting call, and then we got Suyash.
Yep.
And he played the role of Darren, and his audition was actually really great. He came in and he actually had like different shots. It wasn't just one take. He like messed around with the shots, and they were pretty bang on what I ended up doing in the film. Yeah. So I could tell he was keen. So I was like, he would be great as Darren, kind of someone who seemed like able to, what's the word? Like reach out to a pal. He'd be able to reach out to a pal. I thought, so it's going to be a hassle to edit from a.
So good. So yeah, like I think Suyash seemed like he did a good job, especially coming in last minute, and I get what you mean. Like he has that kind of like vibe that he seems like the kind of like nice guy. Because like no offense to Jacob, but Jacob looks like a very kind of manly guy. Aye. Like it's probably more of a compliment. But like you can see him playing like the character of Mark, like someone who would struggle to talk about their feelings and would suffer with the masculinity kind of thing and pushing themselves. And then like I think Suyash kind of did a good job embodying like the more sensitive kind of feeling. Gordon was just waving goodbye. I don't know if he's coming in or if he's leaving. I think he might just be leaving. So maybe no co-host for this one. Yeah. It was just too tangoing.
Gordon, while we're on the topic of Gordon, we were moving on from that topic, weren't we?
Yeah.
Aye. Gordon was helping out. He was my assistant director. I would not have been able to make that film without Gordon.
He really saved the day.
He genuinely did. And then he brought, I don't want to say he brought, but because he was there, Michelle was also there as a runner.
Yeah.
Same with Evan. They were great. They were great to help. But yeah, Gordon was obviously the experienced filmmaker in it compared to me. It was my first time director. I don't know if we said that.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we mentioned that, but obviously I guess we kind of alluded to it as like your first year, so But yeah, this was your first ever project, like, that you'd written and directed.
Real people.
And edited. You never edited either as well. So
yeah, that was actually quite fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. I hate it.
Well, it was rough when I was started, and then once I got into the groove of it, I was like,
yeah, no, it kind of comes to you. It's one of those things. It's like, it can be tedious, but it is kind of, it's nice to see your project come together. It's probably the thing, because before, like, you would have found out when you were shooting, it's a lot of just being like, have I shot this shot? Have I shot this shot? And then you finish and you're kind of like, have I got everything? Like, what's this going to be like? So it's nice seeing it come together in the edit, and finally, like, see your vision kind of coming through into something that is actually watchable, you know. And I think it, like, you did a really good job editing.
Thank you.
Like, I got it after you'd finished it to kind of add in some visual stuff and do some little tweaks.
The time.
Yeah. So it was just like adding the times in. If you've seen the film, presumably most people will have, if they're.
It's a short watch, maybe.
It's a short watch. If you haven't listened to it, watched it already, it is our longest short film, but it's still short.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very good one. It's engaging. It's a bit different from all of our other ones. I think it's one of the most unique in terms of topic. Like, I wouldn't have ever had that idea.
Thank you.
Like, a lot of my ideas, funnily enough, are very generic a lot of the time, somewhat by accident. But yeah, that's really, like, I highly doubt anyone else has ever made a film about someone being driven by an Andrew Tate type of character who is a runner who struggles with his mental health. Like,
yeah.
I think that's unlikely to anyone else has had that idea. So I think it's a really unique.
Thank you.
Spin.
I took my inspirations obviously from, because obviously I'm into fitness, but I used to do a lot of running.
Yeah.
And I should have mentioned this earlier now that I think about it. But I remember running. I went to a running club and it was originally so fun, so good to train and all that.
Yeah.
Then I got quite thingy about racing and times and all that,
Right.
and I just hated it after.
Yeah.
That was kind of also an inspiration for it, kind of like how he became more rigid, and you see that in the film.
Yeah.
On his second run, after him and Darren have that falling out, he's running, he's just looking at his time, he's not enjoying it, basically, is
Yeah.
what I tried to push, because self-improvement, if you are going to do it, and everyone should do it, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but if you are going to do it for yourself, do it to make it fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm preaching on this podcast, because I know it's just kind of how the subject matter, but that was kind of the message I was trying to convey.
Yeah, no, I definitely really like that, because I love a good parallel kind of thing, and obviously you shot them on the same day, but there was scenes where it opens with Jacob running, and then obviously the later one and he's struggling. I love that, because it's like peak, like the reason that you make films, which is show don't tell, and
Yes,
that's
thank you.
you showing that he's struggling and he's not doing as well without you just you do that quite a lot. Actually, I think you did a really good job of that, because I think people can fall into the trap of just saying everything. Like, you could have just been had him at the end of his run stand there and be like, oh, my time is so much worse than my last one, or when he wakes up and he's missed his exam, and be like, oh gosh darn it, I've missed my exam.
Aye.
You just show it with the time. And
I mean, I did send an email, so if people wanted to pause, they could pause and read the email.
Yeah.
I did actually take the time to write that out.
Yeah.
Made up a classroom code for it on the thing.
Jeez, you really and the phone thing as well. With obviously
Yeah.
Finlay, you recorded all of that.
Yeah.
So there was quite a lot of prep, and I heard as well from Gordon that you'd storyboarded some of the scenes as well.
Yeah, because I have basic art skills.
Yeah.
Like, I can draw. You can see my sketchbook. I'm quite good at drawing, figures and all that. Like, people is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I would say slightly more than basic from what I've seen. You're pretty good.
Thank you.
Got some talent there.
So I was like, I might as well do that, because I remember in the steps we take, Gordon had storyboards, and as we went through it, he ticked off a shot that he did when he was happy with it, and I was like, that's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
So to keep track of what I was doing, I then made them, and then I came in, and then you and Gordon were quite impressed with them, which is obviously very flattering for me.
Yeah.
But and then while we were filming, I kind of referred back to them, like, right, is this good, this bad? And also to remember it, because I wasn't really working off the script, which is something I need to work on for next time.
Right.
I'll get to this later on, what I want to improve in the future, but I didn't know my own script off by heart.
Right.
And I kind of felt bad when we got there because the actors, I was just the idea that the actors expecting to know it, but then I don't know it off by heart. I was honestly just going off the storyboards, and then maybe the script on my phone I would open up for a specific thing. But then we were all looking over the script while filming. A wee inside nod.
We're just waving goodbye to Gordon and Cameron. They're going off to have some fun in the Society's cupboard together.
Shout out to Cameron, by the way. We used his room. It felt very lived in. As I said, that's how I put it, because it's just, there was stuff on his desk. Not even saying this in a bad way. It was stuff that was decorated. There was a nice bookshelf above it. It was good.
Yeah, it saves us having to bother with set design and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just have the stuff there and it looks real. It was good, yeah.
It was good, and then we were also able to keep track of the time because they had a penguin clock that had shouted every hour. Oh, 4 minutes before every hour actually.
Oh.
It was off time a wee
off.
bit, but it was quite good because then when we finished at like 7, the penguin went and we were like, oh, that's us.
That's it. That's a wrap. The penguin has made a little noise. What
Yeah.
noise did it make?
I can't remember.
Oh.
Cameron will tell you.
Okay. Cameron, come back, please.
What we were talking about before, Cameron.
Yeah, I'm totally distracted by that. Jeez, you're talking about the filming process. Oh, not knowing your lines, storyboards.
Yeah, when I got, like, I didn't think much of it all the day. I was like, yeah, I know it, I wrote it, and then I got to the day and I was like, I don't actually know 100% what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, this is no fault to the actors at all. Ash and Jacob were absolutely amazing. I think one of them might have missed a line or something like that, which obviously is no big deal. And I did tell them when we came in, because this is my first time not writing dialogue, but dialogue that I knew 100% people were going to speak out their mouth.
Yeah.
And be filmed while doing it. And there was a couple lines, like the NPC line, that on the day I was like, is that good? And then Gordon actually was like, no, it's good. Like someone who's like an Andrew Tate type would use that word.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect actually, because I imagine that someone like that would say stuff like that, so I thought it was fun.
Right, that's good. But then, I felt a wee bit annoyed about that, so next time I'm going to try and know my script as well as the actors.
Yeah, I mean it is difficult because you do just go, oh, I wrote it.
Yeah.
But then, especially when it's like quite long and like you don't remember every single detail. So yeah, it's definitely good to know. Like, I would definitely take some inspiration, because I have said I would do it many times, but I don't really storyboard. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, the films I've made so far don't require much storyboarding, because they're both like almost entirely static shots.
Yeah. It'd be like for Sangano, I was like, what would you do for the storyboard?
Yeah. I mean, the script was weird because it was just me describing what happened, so I suppose I could just storyboard it, but I just did it in words rather than drawing, because I can't draw very well. But for the upcoming feature film, like some of it, it would have like the kind of the storyboards. I'll storyboard it out because I want these specific things. Like the opening scene is quite involved, like camera movement wise. And there are some of them it's just a conversation, and then like don't need to storyboard every scene ever. Yeah. But it's definitely something, and like seeing you do that, and I was like, that is a good idea. So I definitely, you give me some inspiration as well.
Happy to hear that.
So speaking of future and kind of taking your like ideas for the things that you learned from losing track, what's next for you? Because both for like running the club wise, because you have a new role going into next year, and also just project ideas as well. Do you want to just give us a little insight?
What I should like improve on as well?
Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
I said I would get back to that. One other thing, not knowing the script off by heart. I did know the script obviously, but it was not off by heart. And there was like wee things in it, like Suyash played Darren, and you might notice this in the director's commentary. I keep calling in the movie, I go like, there's Mark. Maybe something I'll say Jacob. I think kind of went in between.
It's really difficult to know if you call them by their character name or their actor name a lot of the time. But
I don't think I called. I think I called Darren Suyash. Went in the director's commentary throughout it. That's just. Gordon and Cameron again.
Gordon and Cameron again. They just keep
Rascals,
cameoing.
by the way.
Yeah, they said they would come in and they haven't. This is shocking behaviour from them.
Look at them just going out the door. Absolute savages. Oh, Gordon just looked at me. No mind. Aye. What was I saying? I've done it again, man.
The director's commentary names and stuff.
Aye, you keep calling him Suyash because I didn't know, they didn't actually say Darren in the film.
Oh,
I realised
yeah.
that is something so stupid of me, just not realising. He's probably say his name at one point, but it's weird. But when you're talking to your pal, you don't say. Maybe I do actually. Maybe like, all right, Aidan, but
yeah, I had a really weird thing. This is a bit of tangent, but for many years I didn't like calling people their names. Like I find it very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't call like my mum. Like I would just speak to her. I wouldn't be like mum because I find it very awkward. I don't know why. I've kind of gotten over it. But yeah, I naturally don't say people's names very often. But when I'm writing stuff, I make sure to include their name if it's important. And yeah, you have to kind of have them say it at one point, but it's difficult to make it natural. If they're not just meeting, like it's easy if it's just like, oh, nice to meet you. So easy. But if it's like they know each other already, it's like
good pals.
Yeah, you're not just gonna be like, hey, Darren. Like if it's in a group setting, maybe. But like if it's just two people, it's really difficult. So that's like the weird thing about dialogue is you're trying to introduce certain things that you wouldn't usually have in conversation to like further the story and like to be like when I wrote shit last year for the first episode where they were all introducing each other, I just came up with this cool like idea where they were each introducing themselves to different people. Yeah. Do you remember that?
I wasn't there.
Like, have you like seen the script? No. I can't remember.
I've not even seen photographic, like any of it.
Missing out. You see it at the event.
Oh, so I will.
Well, some of it. I don't think we're showing the whole thing, but we'll show you at some point. And I can show you the script for shit at some point. This doesn't count as a swear, by the way. It's called shit. It's
in asterisks.
Yeah,
no.
It's in the
quotes.
Quotes.
Yeah,
I'm doing the air quotes every time I say shit. What noise would air quotes make?
Yeah.
There you go. So that was like a cool kind of way to do it because I was like, how do I do this otherwise? Like having their name. So I was like, I'll make fun of it because it's like sitcom-y. And then for the feature, that now that I think about it, I don't know if everyone has their name said. I think they do, but I think it's other people speaking about them because that's easier. It's
that's
like,
good. Yeah.
Oh, like Jane did this, or like you know what Kieran's like. Stuff like that is easier than them being like, what's up, my dude Kieran. Like, so yeah, you're trying to introduce it early enough, but you need to say it a few times as well, especially if it's a longer thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people forget. Because like, have you ever been to see a movie, and you just forget the character's names?
I'm so bad for names.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like that guy. Like, what was his name? Like that character. Like the one that The Rock was playing.
Yeah. So if it's a big actor, you end up saying the guy. Like I was watching the first Planet X movie the other week. I loved it for the new one coming out, and I was like, the guy, James Franco. Like I can't go like that. His name's Will, I think, but I had to look it up.
Yeah, it's like weird with that. It's like, so I don't know if it is important because I feel like some Hollywood movies don't seem to care that much. So I don't know how important it is, but this is stuff that we are learning as we go along, kind of thing.
This is the great thing about having this club though. Like I'm saying this, and you're like, oh, I'll look back in my script.
Yeah, and now it's obviously like us talking to each other, like kind of sharing these things. Like we don't have that many opportunities to just sit and chat, but this is why this is quite good. And yeah, it's just like made me think about that as well, and I think it's fine. But it's something
you're gonna now look back on. Like, does that work?
Yeah, and then obviously you'll have it in your head for whatever you're working on next. And is there any hints? Do you have any firm ideas, or is it just kind of a few things floating about?
Well, because I had the idea after the day with filming with Finlay.
Yep.
And everyone was loving it. It was amazing. It was funny what he was doing. I couldn't hold the camera straight. I leaned off to Evan.
I'm devastated I missed that day. I'm so sad.
That's the thing though. I'm thinking of maybe doing something a bit funny.
Oh, that would be good.
I'm not want to say a comedy because I'm not naturally that funny, but I think I could write maybe a funny situation or something. So maybe something maybe kind of lean into the kind of like the awkwardness of being the ages that we are. We're kind of a bit over an awkward age now.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. We're still
There's
young
still,
people.
Yeah, lots of changes. I mean, I love writing about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's very much my default style. Is, I mean, no one would have really seen it from the stuff that I've like written so far, but like shit, air quotes, is very much like that. Like it's like the struggles of young people, and it's very naturally comedic. Because it is like sitcom, so it's kind of like a bit far fetched, but it has some very serious tones, which I like doing. And the feature that I'm writing just now initially wasn't going to be very funny, and it's not like a comedy. But it has a lot of comedic elements mixed with darker, more serious tones, which I think is really fun because it gives like some levity to the situations because it's not just like depressing, but it also feels real at the same time. So I love doing stuff like that. So I would say comedy is easier than you think. I say maybe everyone hates my comedy and they don't laugh at my jokes. But
it's great for a good juxtaposition between comedy and a darker tone. Like with some movies, some things can struggle with it though. You need to try and find the balance. Like not to rant on a movie, but Thor: Love and Thunder did not tackle that whatsoever. There was one scene, right, and I was like, this is it. Like, they're actually maybe doing something when Jane Foster is like contemplating. You can cut this out, by the way. This may not be relevant.
No, go for it.
It's like contemplating like her cancer and all that, and then you're like, and I was watching it like, right, this was a good scene. They're tackling this. The humour's kind of undertoning the dark. The dark themes are undertoning the humour, and then Valkyrie comes in with a speaker and they start dancing, and I'm like,
what have you just... Yeah, that movie was... I saw that Chris Hemsworth was like... Oh, I feel so bad about that. And I was like, fair. Because I went to see that movie, and this was where my like love for Marvel movies was kind of dying. I feel like a lot of people were in the same place. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited about this, because Thor Ragnarok is fabulous. It's so good. And then I went to see that movie, and I was like, what the... I'm going to use my swear. What the actual fuck was that? Like, it was so bad.
I'm still a big Marvel fan. Like I still follow it and I read some of the books and but yeah, I enjoyed that at the time. Like after it, I was like, yeah, I was fine. But then on the drive home, I was thinking like, that was something.
Yeah, it didn't have that balance, and you would think that they would. And I'm like, did anyone watch this? And
the director apparently was just on drugs and did not care.
Yeah, to be fair, I think he was like fucking Rita Ora and...
Well, that's his wife.
Yeah, and someone else at the same time. There's like a picture of him on the
Tessa
balcony.
Thompson.
It was Tessa Thompson, yeah.
Aye.
And they're literally like fucking, presumably having a threesome.
Yeah.
At some point on that day, and I'm like, you know what, fair enough, man. Like,
and then he starts slagging the VFX in an interview.
Yeah.
And then like two months later, something came out that the VFX artists are extremely overworked at Disney, and it was poor timing on his part, but I just shouldn't have said it.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear he was just there for the money, and like
he did say that.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, but it was not at all after how good Ragnarok was.
That's the thing though. We know he could have done it well.
Yeah, he could have done it so much better.
And then Chris Hemsworth is apologising. It's like, I appreciate it. It does show, maybe it shows that he doesn't really have an ego compared to like someone like The Rock or something.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, it's not your fault.
No.
Like, you should have been reined in by the director.
Yeah, that's the director's job.
Yeah.
Is like, if you're not happy, that's something I struggle with, and I'm getting better at as I direct people, is like, you have to criticize people sometimes. Like, it's constructive criticism. Like, they're not always going to be able to read your mind and know exactly what you want. So you have to tell them.
Yeah.
So it's not their fault. If I didn't like, a take that Nikki did on Sad Girl Hours, and then I didn't tell her that, and then I put it out, and then it gets more than 500 views on YouTube on like this timeline. Maybe in another universe, it gets 1 million views, and then I start bashing her by saying like, I hate this take, because she didn't like totally messed it up. Like, obviously fair enough if she ignored what I said, but I didn't tell her. I didn't criticize, so that's my fault, and
absolutely.
I think they have to like take that on, obviously an actor can criticize their own performance, but
Yeah.
they can't criticize the script,
Mhm.
like, really, because they didn't write it.
And that's something Gordon said I was alright at for my first time, like being able to be like, can you do that again, basically.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I tried to be. I obviously it was never like that was crap. I
Yeah.
don't think no. There was never a bad take on the actor's part. It was more me wanting something else from the
Yeah.
delivery. Like if I wanted a specific frame, like in a certain way. This is something I want to work on more, composition in my shots.
Yeah.
Because there was a bit of that. There was one shot that I really liked. I think I said it in the director's commentary where you see Mark and then Darren's like behind him.
Yep.
And then Darren's like, all right, okay. And then he comes out with a, but you left us the other week and all that.
Yep.
And you actually see Darren come back into frame.
I loved that because
Yeah.
I initially thought, like, I watched it and I was like, that's really good. Like, because I was just watching through it as I was kind of editing and tweaking stuff. And yeah, I was like, that is a really, really good shot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I got it when I was storyboarding it, because I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at it, like, what's a good fun way of showing this visually? Like,
Yeah.
him speaking out, like, literally is coming out of Mark's shadow, and I was proud of myself for thinking of it, and I'm happy that you liked it.
Yeah, I think, like, you're obviously, there's always room for improvement, but I actually think that was one of the strongest things about Losing Track was it looked visually really good.
Thank you.
Obviously, like, our cameras are pretty good and we're getting more used to using them. But yeah, your shot composition, like, there's one as well, obviously it's just more like a directional choice, but when Jacob or Mark is sitting on his phone watching, like, you know,
Yeah.
Aidan Lampton
That's another thing. His name was never mentioned once. That's what we were pure thinking. Like, should we just say Tate? Should we just, like, in the credits, should we just say Tate? Because, like, well, I went for Aidan Lampton because that's what I gave him in the script. In the end. Anyway, so you was scrolling through.
Is he named after me?
No,
Aidan Lampton?
no.
Okay. Phew. I was like, geez, have you found all those videos online of me saying dodgy things about women and for clarification, that doesn't exist. I hope. I did once sign a contract where they were like, we can edit this footage in any way that we want. So maybe it does exist out there. Maybe
yeah.
Cineworld has defaced me. But yeah, it's that shot where he's watching the videos and it cuts to the laptop, like shining like the light in the dark room. I really liked that a lot.
Thank you.
I was a big fan of that.
That was a last minute shot. That was a mistake, if you will.
Really?
That because I was originally going to bring my running stuff for the shoot to then show. In fact, was it in the shot? It may have been actually, but it was meant to have the running shoes and the jacket beside the chair.
Yeah.
And then have his work there, so it was actually in the shot. But I had to basically adjust it to then be it was the work just on itself. It was because basically it was meant to show. No, tell you a lie. So I'm thinking this now. This is going back to not 100% knowing my script. The laptop's cover was meant to be a picture, like the desktop wallpaper was meant to be a picture of Mark and Darren.
Oh, right.
So then he sees this wallpaper, and then the running stuff beside him. It's like him choosing his priorities.
Right, I like that. Yeah.
But I was planning on taking that picture day one, putting it as the desktop wallpaper for the next day of filming.
Yeah.
But we didn't get our Darren till the second day.
That makes sense.
So I was like, how am I going to choose this? So then I just changed it to the work, being like, this is what he's thinking about at this point. So it was kind of a last minute shot. It was a last minute shot, and then I've went through it chronologically how I've got to it.
But it's still, I like that like initial idea as well, but obviously it still worked out really well in the end. But yeah, I think like for you going forward, obviously you've kind of been like, oh, I need to learn my script better, and that's probably
shot composition.
I would say don't worry too much about your shot composition, because I think obviously do, but like I think that was really strong out of all of the things. And yet for a first attempt, like it's obviously more difficult for me to compare, because like the first one I worked on quite a few, like not being shit, jeez, that's not ideal.
Well, we're gonna have to break up the.
We're gonna have to break up the podcast, guys. This is unforeseen. Oh my god.
This is quite funny. Actually.
This is really funny. Maybe we'll come back in. There's a fire alarm. Oh my god. we managed to not get murdered by the fucking massive dragon.
It was ginormous, genuinely.
It was
Insane.
crazy. Like, it burnt down the Union. The fire brigade came, as you would have heard in the definitely not artificial soundbite that I inserted. It was definitely real. And it fucking burnt down the whole thing.
Right.
We were outside. Then they got those people that build the hospitals in China over here. They rebuilt the whole Union. It only took like
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Tops.
Got back in. We have a new recording studio.
Yeah.
Everything, new equipment. It's amazing. Fire alarm goes off again.
It's a second dragon.
The dragon's son had come back for revengeance because it had been slain by Eva, the Strath Union president.
Exactly.
And yes, came back, and then thankfully, Eva was injured in battle, so Jonny got out his massive sword that he has
Thank God you said
stashed
sword.
in his bag. He's like Percy Jackson. It's like a pen, and it turns into a thing. But
Right. I mean, we are at Strathclyde, Glasgow Uni. We can't be saying I carry a blade around.
oh yeah, it's not a real blade. We borrowed Gordon's gun.
That's not any better.
We're blaming Gordon. It's fine.
Aye, he's got it. It was just gone.
It's fine. And then Jonny destroyed the dragon's son. I felt a little bit bad because we killed his father, but it's okay. So we're back in the again rebuilt studio. This is
Third studio. I think that's a world record. 3 studios for one
free
podcast.
studios. It's mental. It's basically been recorded in it's like recording across the world, but just in one place. Rebuilt studios.
In all seriousness, though, there was 2 fire alarms in between when we did this. I know it kind of makes it sound like we're joking, like they may not actually believe.
Yeah.
But there was genuinely.
There was 2. We were gonna start recording again, and then it went off again. So I'm really sorry, Chris, but I'm running late. So we're gonna wrap this up real lovely and quick. So Jonny is gonna be treasurer next year.
Yep.
That's very exciting. Do you have some quick words? I'm gonna time you like I'm fucking Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards.
Aye, fair enough.
And you have a timer. I'm counting now. How do you feel about being treasurer?
Good. I had to step up to a position at one point for next year. It was either that or president, and I didn't feel like I was ready to be president, and I was like, I've seen Gordon and Jamie and all that, and Cameron handle the money, and I was like, I could step up to this role and have the assistance of the former treasurer Cameron beside me, and allow him to be president, and then from then on I'll see what happens if I go for president or stay as a treasurer, or someone else might come in. Who knows?
You've got your plan all sorted. You're gonna make it in life. I have trust in you. I can't vote in elections, but if I could, my vote would be Jonny.
You could swing the elections with propaganda.
That is true. I'm good at making some propaganda.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, propaganda, our event on the 20th
Yep.
of May this month, which is in when you're listening to this, it's today. So this isn't really promotion, but the event is today, and it's not today, but it's coming up, and we have lots of exciting stuff going on. We're gonna show all of our films that we've worked on this year. We're gonna show some of our past stuff in little snippety bits.
Some stuff I've not even seen.
Some stuff Jonny's not even seen. It's that old. And
I am an 05, so
yeah, a little baby. Oh, jeez, that makes me feel old.
sorry.
And we're gonna premiere 3, not
3?
1, not 2, but 3 new short films. Very exciting.
That's mad.
When you're listening to this, they will be going up across the week. We're probably going to do one on the Tuesday, one on the Wednesday, one on the Thursday maybe. That's subject change, but they're coming out soon, and we'll have some stuff on our Instagram. Very exciting. And finally, we'll be talking about our feature a bit more that I have been writing. I think I've talked about it a little bit on other podcasts, and this one a little bit. But progress is being made. I think the last time we updated you, we were on 30 pages, and I was lying. I was actually on 25. Gordon was like, the last time you were on 30 pages was 2 months ago, and I was like, yeah, I was lying then. And I had written 2 more pages. But I have been sick off work, and I had some days off anyway.
Are you publicly saying this?
I'm publicly saying this. Gordon,
I mean, it's not like you were actually sick, so it's not actually.
Yeah, I was actually sick. Yeah, I was actually genuinely ill. I went into work one day and left after an hour because I still felt bad.
Aye.
So sitting at my desk writing is not very strenuous. I just had a bug. So I've been fucking bashing that out. We're at 75 pages. It's going really well. It's like 12, maybe almost 13,000 words now. Crazy. But it's going great. We're going to talk about that at the event. We have the name. We have the logo, which is maybe subject to change. But we're getting there. It's going really well.
So it's all in the production. It's all on its way.
Yeah, it's really ramping up. We're probably going to have shooting dates soon. Obviously, we're going to need to do a second kind of draft, but we're doing well so far.
We're good.
We've just had some random guy in an orange vest wave at us. This is an unbelievable
I know,
podcast.
man,
Gordon is missing out this week. Like, fucking, he's not going to believe us.
Who's dragging us down? Right.
Yeah. All of the crazy shit happened. This is like the thing. It's like he misses out that 1 week. It's like, do you know when you're off school that one day and then everything happens? It's like, the fire alarm went off twice. People kept fucking waving at us. It was a strange experience. But yeah, we're doing great. I'm sorry this is wrapped up so quickly. But
unforeseen circumstances.
I can't leave Chris hanging any longer. He's going to have to spend more time alone with his girlfriend. How could he? And I've not seen him in months. We're like best friends, and I've not seen him in months. So I'm very excited. So yeah.
Hey, go run and get him right now,
I'm gonna run.
Just
we're gonna
go.
run and we're gonna like hug. We're gonna have that moment. I hope he listens to this so he can hear all the nice things I'm saying about you, about him. Not you. I love you too, Johnny.
Oh, thank you.
But any.
Love you too, obviously.
Well,
I just tried to say that back.
We're just spreading the love in here. This is lovely.
Gordon is missing out again.
Yeah, he's not getting any love. Fuck Gordon, by the way. Fuck you. I'm joking. I love you, Gordon, too. I just love everyone. I'm just in a peace and love mood today. Maybe because we had a near-death experience with the 2 dragons.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah, and not like Dragon's Den type, like actual real dragons.
Now I have a massive scar across my chest. So I mean, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, it's rough. You're like Luffy. Whenever he gets that scar on his chest. Usually we get our guests to name the episodes, but I think we have a name. The one with 2 dragons.
Yeah, the one with 2 dragons. That's perfect.
Yeah, there we go. We're in agreement. This is the one with 2 dragons.
Yep.
It will make no sense unless you listen this far. But
which you should.
Yes, of course, please do. But yeah, this was a surprisingly eventful podcast.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you have any closing remarks?
I'm so happy that you had me on. I hope to potentially make another appearance on this.
100%, you'll be back.
Yes.
And there was even discussion, like, this is very far in the future, but obviously we talked about me and Gordon are both kind of stepping away.
Yep.
Because we have new stuff going on after the summer, going into new uni year. So I think we'll ease into it. But Johnny may be the new main host of the podcast. I'll still come back occasionally.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Johnny might be taking over my role. So this will definitely not be your only time.
This is very far down the line, obviously.
Yes.
Well, not
we'll
ease into it, but yeah.
It'll be a smooth transition.
I'm going to become more common.
Yes, it'll be a regular.
Be better when I make more films, contribute to more films as well.
100%.
I'll just get to know like actors and all that more.
Yeah. So you're doing bits for this club. You're really getting in.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you for coming onto the podcast. Thanks for all of the stuff you've done, the club, so far. And yeah, any final remarks?
Hope everyone has a good day.
Wow, what a nice guy, Johnny. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this somewhat chaotic episode of the pilot podcast, episode 3, and we've got 2 dragons. That's almost a dragon for each episode. That's crazy.
That's more than Dragon Ball Z. I mean, we're
Jesus.
winning. We're all winning.
Is there any dragons in Dragon Ball Z?
There are several.
Okay, I don't know why I never thought of that.
Well, they're not like one every episode, but like
there is dragons. I have seen the Fortnite glider actually. That's my exposure. And before we were having a little chat just before the podcast, and Johnny was like, "We'll get Dragon Ball Z into this," and you did it successfully. So that was a perfect ending.
There we go.
Yeah, thanks.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Like higher English conclusion question. There you go.
Whoa, getting the very on topic.
It is.
Unless you're English, because then you don't know what higher English is.
Well, because my sister did Nat 5 yesterday, so that was on my mind.
Oh, did she do well? Do you reckon?
She said she did well. The papers were quite good.
I'm glad. I'm
good.
happy to hear that for your sister.
Thank you. I'll let her know.
Yeah. Could say Aidan said, "Good job."
I'm sure she can hear this.
Yeah. Play it to her and be like, "Your sister. What's your sister's name?"
Don't know if she'd want that said.
Oh, okay. Maybe not then.
Ali. We'll say Ali.
Ali. Thanks, Ali, for being born and being Johnny's sister. Thanks for putting up with him. And on that note, thanks again for listening to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in 2 weeks for an ultra special edition of the podcast.
Oh.
Very exciting. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaotic. It's probably not going to be good for your ears.
You might hear us. You might not.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if our voices project enough for this next episode of the podcast, but
we might be overshadowed by some big characters.
Yeah, we might. There might be a fight. There might be a third dragon.
Who's to say? Who's to say? Tune in next week. Tune in next fortnight.
Yeah, tune in the 20th when the event is. Okay, we've taken a while to wrap this up because it's just we've had so much going on in this podcast.
Have to decompress a wee bit, man.
But dragon, these nuts across your face.
Oh wow.